One more time. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Luis. They call me Carmelo. I'm 33 years old.
All right. So tell me about your experience from coming to Mexico from the United States and being here at the rehab center.
Well, I got deported. I've been here about 13 years.
Okay.
When I got here, I didn't know about the rehabs or the shelter homes. I was homeless for a couple of days until I ran into Robert. He heard me speaking English and he asked me if I was on the street, and I mentioned yeah.
He picked you off the street.
Well, actually, I was already in another rehab.
Oh, okay.
But I met him somewhere, and he told me that he had an English-speaking rehab.
Oh, okay.
So that's what caught my attention. That's why I came over here.
And so what was your mindset? So you were at another rehab, you're in Guadalajara. You're not really familiar with anything. What's your mindset when you get here to Jeve del Sur?
Well, my mindset was to stay because I really liked it. I liked the city, and I wanted to stay and basically get a job, buy a car, buy a house, basically do better for myself. That was my mindset when I first got here.
How old were you when you got here?
I was like 19.
19?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You were a baby.
I was very young. That is correct.
Okay, wow. So you're basically starting a whole new life as a young man.
That is correct.
Okay.
I was very young. When I got here, it was a bit hard because I didn't have my paperwork. So I wasn't able to get a good paying job. So being in the rehab helped me, gave me time to get better with myself, get anger management classes, and basically rehabilitate and start getting my paperwork little by little so I could get a good paying job.
Okay.
So at some point in time, it did help me.
So did you imagine yourself when you got in Mexico being where you're at today?
In the rehab?
When you first came to Mexico, what did you imagine yourself in the future?
Well, basically have my own business, my house, my car, a good paying job. That's where I imagine myself. Having a good relationship. And I've been doing it little by little.
Tell me, how have you been doing that?
Well, I have my house now. I bought my house when I was able to get paperwork so I could get a decent job. I was able to buy my home. I have bought 2 cars already and a motorcycle.
Oh, wow.
And I have started my own business recently.
All right. Well, that's just so much information. So tell me start with the first thing. How did you build up from where you were, homeless on the streets, going to a rehab center, and then to starting your own business, being able to realize your dreams? How did that happen?
Well, I just knew I had to do it. I just knew that I needed some support, and I wasn't getting it from my family. But I'm used to it. I'm used to it going to another city and starting from the bottom, and basically coming up again, getting a good job, a house, a car. Basically, I just knew I had to work, and I just needed support. So being in the rehab helped me to basically get my paperwork, start getting a good job, and also therapy in the meantime with anger management. That was my biggest thing. And other than that, I just started working and saving money. So
you've always been a really hard worker then?
Oh yes, I've always been a hard worker.
Okay, and so that's helped you a lot anywhere you're at?
Yes, anywhere. Okay. I always work, but I just wanted a good paying job.
Yeah, nobody wants a bad paying job. Yeah. Definitely. So tell me where you're at right now. I remember you mentioned you have dreams of being a pilot?
I'm going to be a commercial pilot one day very soon.
How did that dream come about?
Ever since I could remember, since I was little, I always wanted to be a pilot. But I remember people always telling me that I couldn't be a pilot, that I couldn't do it. And when I was younger, I listened to them.
Why did they tell you couldn't? Because it's expensive? Because it's...
Well, they would say it was for really smart people that like to study a lot, and that I wasn't going to be able to do it.
Do you like to study?
Yes.
Okay, so you have that. And so what do you have to do to become a pilot now?
To become a private pilot, you need a quarter of a million, 250,000 minimum, depending on the school that you go to. And being a pilot, you have to study like forever. It's not like one of those careers that you go to a college and study 4 or 5 years, and you just work on your field and that's it. You always stay studying, like your whole lifetime. You stay studying because there's always new systems, new technology, new information, new upgrades, and you being a pilot, you always have to know all the information. You always have to be updated. So it's a profession that once you work on it, you're always gonna have to be studying.
So, you have a little bit more of a you have a successful story. You had a lot of trials and tribulations in the United States. You got everything together in Mexico. What recommendation would you give to someone who's being deported and may think, oh my God, my life is over?
I would say 2 things, either to study or start your own business. Start your own business, because if you study, then you can have a good paying job that will pay you good. But if you start your own business, you might be able to make more money than the good paying job you'll get with your studies. So I would say, give it a try. Give it a try. Like, for example, I remember that I have gotten deported several times, and I never wanted to give Mexico a try. I would always go back to the violence, gang lifestyle in the United States.
And why did you stop that lifestyle?
Oh, because I knew this time that if I went back, I was going to go to prison for at least 10 years. And I didn't want that to be my outcome.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be locked up.
Okay.
So that's basically why I decided to stay in Mexico and give it a try.
So how do you deal with, a lot of people, they have issues with depression, feeling of belonging. I noticed that one thing that a lot of people like here is that they like the community. How should deportees deal with these feelings of depression, feeling that they don't belong?
I go to a church that's called Victory Outreach.
Okay.
They're an international movement, and they help me a lot. I'm talking about a lot with the depression, with feeling down, with feeling that I could belong and relate here to a certain community.
Yeah.
So anyone that gets deported, I suggest you look them up. They help you extremely good. If you have nowhere to go, then you could go to their home shelters. They're Christian, and they'll help you get on your feet, and they'll teach you the Word of God. What helped me out a lot is that they're not like a regular church. They have a lot of English-speaking people. It's like an English-speaking community. They're
Where is the church?
Right here is on by train station, Washington.
Oh,
but
okay.
they're about to move to Bougainvilleas.
So they're an English-speaking
English-speaking, and they're international. So they have people from all over the world. You'll go and you'll meet someone from Brazil, from Canada.
What's their name?
Victory Outreach, Guadalajara. You can look them up on Facebook, Victory Outreach.
So what you're mentioning then is spirituality is something important?
Not really that. Like, for example, people who are not spiritual and they're not into spiritual things, they might not want to get close to a church. But this church is different because they're like a motivating church, and they do a lot of good work for the community. So yes, of course, you'll go over there and they'll talk to you about God, but on top of that, they'll motivate you to do good for yourself, and they also help you in a whole bunch of ways. So that's why I liked it a lot, because it was not like one of them boring churches that you'll go and they just give the sermon and just gotta be sitting there, listen to everything.
It's active.
On board, and like over here, they have a lot of events, a lot of very fun events.
Yeah.
They help out the community. They give food to the community. They give expensive presents to the community. They have a lot of events, a lot of marathons where you run, or if you do any type of sport, you compete, and if you win, you get Xboxes, PlayStations, things like motorcycles sometimes.
Okay.
So things like that really, really motivate you, to do something positive, and also they reward you for it. And so that's what helped me out a lot, and also getting close to the Lord got me more wanting to give also the Lord a try. But when I got there, that's what got me hooked to that place, that they're really, really motivating. So if you have a dream, you want to get something started, they'll motivate you to the fullest.
That's
and
good.
They'll help you to the fullest.
So I kind of see something interesting through this interview. You seem to have this ability to work hard, study hard, but then you talk about, needing church, anger management. So it's not just getting a good job. It's not just studying. It's dealing with your inner demons, right?
Well, what I notice is that if someone wants to make it, they'll find a way to make it.
Okay.
Like, for example, one of the things that I noticed in rehabs is that people really don't want to change.
Okay.
They just come when they're doing bad because they're doing bad, and they want to start doing a little good. And then they start doing a little good, and then they go back to their bad ways.
Yeah.
Once they're like already like chunky and rehabilitated. So me, I always wanted to do better for myself, to start a business, to be a pilot, to have a good paying job. And I'm the type of person that always looks for options up and down, left and right, until I find something that gets me closer to my goal. So what motivated me a lot was basically the situation that I was on, not having my own home, not having a good paying job, and having to be in a rehab center, sometimes surrounded with people that really didn't want to change and me wanting to do better by myself. I think that motivated me more than actually like me having to take anger management classes, me having to like deal with my inner demons, things like that. Of course that was helpful, and I knew I had to get some of that going so I could be a productive member of society and be more social, because I was antisocial before. When I got here, I didn't want to like have friends, talk to no one.
You were angry at the world.
I was upset, yes, definitely. I was upset because of my violent background, and I didn't like Mexico, and I was not able to return to the States legally how I wanted. So yeah, I was upset, and I was violent. So yeah, it did help me, the anger management classes and being in rehab. But it's just something that I knew that I had to work on, but I never really like pushed it to like start working on it until I found myself in a situation where I knew, okay, now I have to work on it so I could start doing better for myself. So that's how the rehab helped me.
Okay. And tell me, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Commercial pilot, brother.
Commercial
pilot, international.
Tell me about where are you going to be? What are you going to be doing?
Well, right now I'm thinking about it because I don't know if to become a pilot here or to become a pilot in the United States. I already done a whole bunch of research.
Can you go back to the United States?
That was what I was working on with my wife. She's an American citizen, so I was already having conversations with her of her fixing my legal situation. But right now we're on one of those on and off cycles.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that stands. But that's eventually my ultimate goal, because I would love to be an international pilot so I could travel the world. If that does not work out, then I'll just be a national pilot and just fly in Mexico. And if that happens, I'll go to a school that is called ITAC.
Okay.
Aviation school.
So how much longer is it going to be for you to finish your career?
Hopefully at the end of May, if I get some good cash that I hope I have coming, probably within the next 2 years, I'm thinking I should be minimum a private pilot.
So does it usually take around 4 years to be a pilot?
The thing about aviation is it has to do with the money. It's not one of those careers that you could study in 4 or 5 years and it costs a whole bunch of money, but you got to be paying off little by little, and you get to work and study because you have 4 or 5 years to pay it off. The thing about aviation is that you have to have $250,000 or $1 million or more than $1 million, depending on what you're going for, private or a commercial pilot, and you have to pay that within a 6-month time frame.
Oh, wow.
So that's like the biggest thing for pilots, the financial situation, that you have to have all that money other careers cost, and you get to pay off in 4 or 5 years. But over here, you have to pay it in 6 months. So when they don't have that money, then that's when they're not able to finish their career, and then they have to work, and then they have to be paying it off. And instead of them finish their career in 6 months, 8 months, or maximum a year, it might take them longer than that, like 2-3 years.
Okay, so you imagine yourself outside of Mexico in the future?
I'm gonna be an international pilot if it's God's will.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you for this interview.